Silly Gypsy. She is always a day late and a dollar short.
Yeah, y'all might got a little bit of snow in Louisiana and Texas, but y'all don't know shit about surviving this fucking negative 10-degree weather. Imagine it taking over a half hour to get that to even go a quarter of the way up. People just drive with their hazards on just because it's that cold. Even though we're prepared and we salt our roads, what you're seeing on the ground, all that white stuff, that's not just salt at all. And it's not snow. That is pavement, the concrete, turning white because it is below freezing. Look. All of that is not snow, and it is not salt. That is just it being below freezing. The cement turns that color. But I want to show everybody something really quick. This is the south end Kroger. Okay, we have a north end Kroger, we have a north end Meijer, and we have a Walmart up there. People that are homeless come back here scavenging for food that they throw away and to see what these shops put in the dumpsters. But back here is where a bunch of homeless people put tents to try to break the wind. And a couple years ago, during the winter, they found 2 homeless men deceased in a tent. They had drank so much to try to keep themselves warm that they found them deceased. And that's not the only person either. We had a homeless man up at the north end Meijer who also passed away in winter trying to, quote, keep warm, unquote. And St. Clair County only has so many shelters. And the one that's for men, they don't let them in until 5:30 at night. So if you're in Michigan, this is just one small little county. If you're in St. Clair County, Michigan, and you're homeless during the winter, which is from October, November, December, January, February, March, we still have very cold weather and sometimes snow into April, May. And if you don't have a place to live and you are housing insecure, you are not allowed to be in the shelter all day. You have to go somewhere all day long until 5:30 when they open the doors to let you in to come sleep. So how are people supposed to survive in this? How are people supposed to live if they are homeless? But everybody's main concern is, oh, look at us. We got a little bit of snow. It's so cool that we finally got snow for the first time ever in 15 years. Let's all go play in it. You guys have no idea what people that live in the north actually go through. This is the norm for us, though. This is just how it is. And the snow that you see on the ground, that stuff's been there. That's been there for weeks. That sky almost always looks like that.
Homeless people in Michigan die from hypothermia and other causes during the winter. The cold, wet weather and long, dark, cold nights can have severe impact on their health. In January 2024, a 6-year-old homeless man in Orion Township died from hypothermia. 2022, 10 people in northern Michigan died from homelessness. In December 2022, a memorial was held in Detroit to honor 31 people who had died while being homeless. If you see someone in distress, you can call 911 for emergency services. If the person needs help finding shelter, try to connect them with a crisis intervention hotline. Provide temporary warmth in places like libraries, shopping centers, or 24-hour cafes. You can also dial 211 for resources here in Michigan, or you can visit the Department of Health and Human Services or your local community mental health. These resources are the most important now more than ever, especially seeing such severe polar vortex weather up here in the northern states. And it's really important to remember that while almost 4,000 human beings pass away just from the cold temperatures and homelessness alone, that we really need to do something to stop that, because not one person should ever pass away from being housing insecure. Homelessness is increasing because the costs are increasing. So that's making it harder to find affordable housing for everybody. The number of people experiencing homelessness in Michigan has increased by over 8% just in the last 4 years alone. Now, this is absolutely not true, where Dr. Chad Audie has said normally winters are short and mild in that region. That is absolutely not true. Our winter season is always from October all the way till April. And some days we might even see at the end of April or the first 2 weeks of May, we still might get some snowfall. However, the ground is starting to heat up more. We're starting to see more sunshine, but it's not like that short and mild. That is a flat out blatant lie. And my mother's birthday is April 5th, and the last several years of her life, we have seen not just snowstorms, but she remembers as a kid having severe snowstorms on her birthday. So while the rest of the country may celebrate spring, we're not exactly doing that in every state. But the cold temperatures have led to a lot of deaths, at least 16 homeless people, and despite the government's efforts to provide the poor with blankets and firewood, it is not enough. And it's not just snow, because where there is snow, there is typically severe ice and cold winds, very long, dark nights. So let's go over some of these statistics. In 2022, 3,571 people in the United States died from cold-related causes. This was a result of exposure to cold being either the underlying cause or a contributing factor. Well, I don't know. If you are housing insecure and you are homeless, of course, being outside in the cold from October to May is going to be a direct cause and effect of not being in a place where you have shelter and are warm. Yeah, hypothermia does exist. The rate of cold-related deaths in the United States has increased since 1999. The rate of cold-related deaths is higher in the winter months than in the non-winter months. I think that's a pretty self-explanatory and common sense there. Cold-related deaths are more common in adults 75 years older and in men. Now, that's not necessarily true, but we do have a higher rate of homeless elderly people and homeless men. Not saying that other people are not. Cold-related deaths are a public health issue, even though the world is warming, because it doesn't change our winters. We still have winter. Climate change has led to more extreme cold weather events, such as polar vortexes, which we have seen so many times since 2014 here in Michigan. Winter respiratory illnesses. Winter is flu season, which can contribute to deaths. And now we also have COVID and RSV and whooping cough and all those other things we have to worry about in the state of Michigan starting in October. That's why it is vaccine season. Winter whiplash. Large swings from cold to warm conditions can increase health risks. You know what increases the health risk? Not having a place where you can take shelter, call home, or having housing stability. And that is the biggest issue. Now, see, this is a blatant lie also, saying that only 8,123 people in Michigan are homeless. When 2 years ago, Michigan alone had over 32,000 homeless, and it has increased in the last 2 years by 32%. Homelessness has increased by over 32% in the last 2 years in the United States of America. It's coming out at over 2.8 million people homeless. But there are places you can donate to help, such as the United Way and Salvation Army.